Good evening from the Camp Creek Fire. I am Kelsey Griffey, Public Information Officer with Great Basin Team 1. We have an evening update for you from the Camp Creek Fire. Here with me is Operations Section Chief Matt Call, who's going to provide you with the most current information on the Camp Creek Fire.
Thanks, Kelsey. So again, we're on the Camp Creek Fire. We're still on day one. We're still sitting at about 1,200 acres. Tonight we're going to do an IR flight. What that means is we're going to have an airplane fly over it and take infrared imagery, and that will give us an updated acreage and show us a little bit more accurately where the fire perimeter is for tomorrow. So we anticipate a little bit increased acreage, but not a lot. Today what happened, the fire grew a little bit on the perimeter. We did have a spot fire here that we found. That's fully contained right now, so that's a non-factor. What we're trying to do is keep this contained to what's the 12 road here and the 14 road. And we're being successful with that by putting some engines in here. We have hot shot crews, and we're putting in hose lays and then putting in some line, so control lines, brakes, and the fuel. But the fuel is really heavy. There's a lot of fuel out there. The duff is really thick, the dead organic material, and the trees are really big. So it takes a lot of time, and it's a lot of equipment. So while that equipment's working, we have aircraft out there. You may have seen we have what we call scoopers and then some helicopters. They're pulling water out of the nearby river, and they're putting a lot of water down on the edge to kind of cool that down so we can get the firefighters in on the ground and actually put some control lines in. On this 14 road, we have prep work going so that we can potentially hold this as a control effort. And just for reference, each one of these squares is a mile. So we're several miles from both the bike park, probably at least 4 or 5, the power lines, any communities. We're still 4, 5, 6 miles away from any infrastructures like that, except for the water treatment plant, which some of those assets sit right here. What we're doing here is putting up most of our efforts on this corner to prevent this fire from going to the west. We have an additional control line in here that the hot shots are about finished with, and what that's going to do is kind of create a little bit of a catcher's mitt and prevent this western fire growth. On this east side, we've got some resources looking at long-term potential and some features where we can put in control lines. We're not as concerned. This isn't the highest priority, so we're going to focus our resources on this side right now. We do have a little bit of weather coming in, probably Monday or Tuesday. What that's going to do is potentially bring a little bit of moisture and increase the humidity. It will probably slow the fire behavior down and give us a little bit more time to work with it. But the downside of that is it could bring in a little bit of wind, which is going to kind of fan the flames a little bit. So it's kind of a give and take. But it should help us a little bit, and we're going to try to take as much advantage of that as possible. As far as the aircraft go, we try to use those as much as possible, but sometimes when it gets smoked in, we can't use those until a little bit later in the afternoon when you see the fire kind of building a little bit more. But we are trying to use those as much as possible. Do you have any other questions?
Thank you so much, Matt. That was a great update. It is our mission to provide you with timely and accurate information. We will continue to post on this Facebook page for the Camp Creek Fire and on NCWeb. We will be providing updates in the morning by 9 a.m. and operational videos mid-morning. And whenever a significant activity occurs on the fire, we will post immediately. And we plan on having public meetings for the next few days, and that will be announced on the Facebook and NCWeb location and time. Thank you for joining us this evening. Have a good night.